Hello, my name is Emily Igioti, and my definition of relentless is someone who doesn't give up and keep going.
Hello, folks, and welcome to the Relentless Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Dubé, and today we have an awesome guest, somebody who has embarked on a remarkable journey in the world of visual storytelling, has traveled the world, has some pretty incredible stories that we're going to hear, and we're excited to have Emily Igioti. Yes, on the Relentless Podcast. Emily, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's good. We talked the other day, but
Yes.
it's so good to meet you face to face.
Yes, it's great to be here.
So, Emily, your main job
Yes.
is you are a photographer,
I am.
and I'm going to tell you that I love photography.
Yeah.
But it's not like I take pictures.
Right.
I have been to a beautiful place called Northern Ireland in Ireland many times. And I have in my office pictures that I took, and this was back in the 2004, 2005, 2006, when we actually used a digital camera, not our phones.
Yes.
And I have all these pictures, and I made them bigger, and I framed them, and people come and they go, "Oh my God, those are incredible pictures. Who took those?" And I said, "Well, I did." And they said, "Are you a photographer?" And I said, "No, but I believe that anybody can go to a beautiful place
Yes.
and take just a picture, and they're just beautiful."
Exactly.
Now, all that being said, those are the only nice pictures I've ever taken in my life, and I don't take a lot of pictures, even with my phone, which is a little bit weird. Let's talk about you, though,
Okay.
and not my photography history. Where do you come from? And let's talk a little bit
Okay.
about your journey.
Yes.
Because you are French,
I'm French, from
but
France.
you are French, not
Yes.
Canadian French.
Not Canadian, even though I lived in Montreal. So yes, I'm from France. I was born and I grew up in Reunion Island. Usually people don't know where it is. It's near Madagascar. It's in the Indian Ocean. So it's a French territory overseas. So I was born there, grew there, left and when I was 18 years old to move to Versailles, which usually people know where it is, to study, to go to law school. So
Okay.
yes.
Now
but-
let's pause there for
Yes.
a sec. So you grew up in
Yeah.
Madagascar,
near Madagascar.
near
yes.
or like
It's a
tiny
it's
island.
So Mauritius Islands and Reunion Islands
Okay.
are two very small islands near this big Madagascar.
And you say
country.
it way better than I do, but I'm going to call it Reunion Island.
Yes.
But you say it's a nice accent. you
Oh,
have.
thank you. Yeah.
So this place,
Yes.
and I should have looked it up before we talked.
It's okay.
It sounds amazing.
It's gorgeous. It's part of the UNESCO, if I said that correctly, heritage. So it's tropical island.
Tropical.
Gorgeous
What are
landscapes.
the beaches like?
It's beautiful.
Is it white sand? Is it?
It
what
is white sand. We also have black sand there.
Black sand, white
Yeah,
sand,
everything.
and the ocean
Mountains,
is
oceans.
It's just everything.
Yeah, everything. So
It
it's
sounds like
heaven.
perfect, like heaven.
Yes.
But then you left to go to school, which makes sense.
Yes. I left to go to school. My parents were teachers. They told me, don't be a teacher. So they wanted me to become a lawyer. So
Okay.
I went to law school,
Yeah.
did my master degree. So I have a master degree in intellectual property and new technology. Then I worked as a legal assistant. Didn't like it at all. Had a lot of very bad experiences with working in the legal field, and I felt like this was not my calling. So that's when then I lost my job, and then I started getting into photography. And like you, I just took photos. I was just like, going on a walk, taking photos of flowers and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I loved it. It's a great hobby. It's like very creative. So I was doing that as a distraction from looking for a new job, and I started really like getting into I want to make this photo better. So I started looking online. It was 2004 or something like this. 2005. So it was the beginning of like forums, like you could go online and just ask questions. How do I take a better photo of this? And
Sure.
just like I got into that photography, hobby. And after that, I left the legal field, and I started my photography business.
It's so interesting. So it was a hobby.
Which
I'm
yes.
assuming most photographers, that's how it starts.
Yes.
It's most artists.
Yes.
It's a hobby, but it becomes a passion. It becomes a love of theirs.
Yeah.
And the legal stuff was not your bag.
No.
You were done.
No, I didn't.
Not fulfilling.
Not fulfilling, and I didn't like because I probably had a misunderstanding of what the real job would be. So I was really like in my little office by myself, with my books, doing my research, doing paperwork. And I didn't love this. I wanted to work with a team. I'm a social person, so I love working with other people.
And you thought the idea of a lawyer is being in the courtroom and doing the Tom Cruise stuff with Jack Nicholson, right?
Exactly.
You can't handle the truth, like all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. And and it was not this. It was it was a lonely, for me, it was a very lonely job for me. So I didn't like that. Mm-hmm.
So the photography, you're taking pictures of flowers, other beautiful things.
Cats, flowers.
Cats, flowers.
Yeah.
I love flowers.
Yes.
My mom was a florist, so I love flowers.
I love flowers.
I don't like cats. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Are you a cat person?
I'm a cat and a dog person. Okay. I love cats and dogs.
I love dogs. Not a cat person. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that. That's not what this is about, okay?
No.
So and then how did you start a business? So like you just out of like nowhere, and where are you living at this time?
I was living in, so when I started the hobby, I was in Réunion Island. Because after my studies, I did all of my studies in France, in Versailles. And after my studies, I went back to Réunion Island, where I got my first job.
Okay. In law.
In law, yeah. I was a jurist, a legal assistant for a lawyer. So I was in private practice. So that was not really the job that I thought I would do. Yeah. So I kind of like went into different jobs, still didn't like it. Then I lost my job and I was unemployed, bored. So that's when I started the hobby. And then but the funny story is that, so I was in Réunion Island and I was still trying to be a lawyer and I was still trying to find a job. So I had this idea that I would go into human resources because I was thinking, I don't find a job as a lawyer, as a jurist, as a legal assistant. Maybe if I just switch it up a little bit, I can just like find another job. So I applied for a master in human resources where my parents lived at that time. So, they still live in Normandy. And I applied for this human resources master thinking I would do it and then I would find a job in human resources.
Okay.
The thing is that I went to an interview with this person, the master degree director, and it was the worst interview of my entire life. This man was so mean and so... It felt like the universe was telling me, you need to get out of this. This is not for you.
Ironically, going into an HR.
Yes.
And the guy is mean and not doing good in interviews.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I left this interview thinking, oh my God, this is it. What am I going to do? Thinking a little bit like, okay, I have no other, kind of like exit. I have no. So, and at that time, I was already doing lots of photography, and one of my friends that I met online through forums and just like helping each other, kind of like
through MySpace.
Exactly, stuff like that. She said to me, she's like, "Why don't you just start a photography business?" And the joke is that I laugh at her a little bit, and I was like, "Who is going to pay me to take photos?"
Right.
But then the idea was there. The idea. And I was like, okay, I feel like I was like at the end of the rope.
Yeah.
I had no other, I was unemployed, left everything in Réunion Island, moved back with my parents.
Sure. The HR stuff's not going to work out.
It didn't work out because the man literally told me that it didn't see why I was applying. Like I knew it was going to be a no. So I felt like at the end of that crossroads, and I was like, well, okay, what am I going to do? And she said that to me and I laughed. But then I thought, actually, why not?
Right.
So I had already taken photos. So she told me, I'm going to help you build a website, because she was at that time also starting a photography business.
Yeah.
She's a mom of 3 kids, and she was helping her husband. But then she was like, this is time for me to do my own thing. So she was like, let's help each other.
Yeah. Which is very cool.
This is great.
Now, did you work together on a company, or were you competitors?
No, we were two, but I was in Normandy, she was in in the south of France.
Okay.
So not really competitors,
Yeah,
but really like friends in that journey.
Sure.
Helping each other. So she helped me build a website. So when she said that, I was like, actually, yes, I'm going to just give myself a year and see where this is going.
Now, this is exciting because if you're able to actually get paid
Yes.
for something you love to do,
Yes.
is there any better feeling in the world?
It's great.
That's probably awesome.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So I'm from the stuff that we've talked about, the research that we've done. You started doing wedding stuff, right?
Yeah.
And do you think that that's the way a lot of photographers start? Like, is that kind of a It's a common business, right?
It is.
There's so many weddings and people want their pictures
Absolutely.
taken. So that's how you got into it, was doing wedding photos.
Yes, I started with weddings because weddings is the entry point, I would say, to photography most of the time, because it's you can learn with other people. You can be second shooters for wedding photographers.
Sure.
Also, lots of weddings, lots of people, lots of different budgets. So you can start shooting weddings for, I don't know, $300. Like it's very
probably up to like $10,000.
Absolutely,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
So it's very a wide variety of opportunities for start shooting weddings, and for me it was just like literally trying anything. So weddings were the thing that I went with, and I think I booked 5 weddings from just knowing a few people looking for wedding photographers the first year, and then the next year I had 15 booked.
Yeah.
Because when you start showing your work after that, it was very easy, and it was 2009. So
and
before,
So and sorry to interrupt you, but so much of it's word of mouth too.
Absolutely.
Oh, who did your photos?
Yes.
Oh, I want to get right. So then that starts to kind of get the snowball going. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I started. I think I had some portrait work, and then people loved my style, and they could tell that I could use this style to shoot weddings. So I started with a friend of the sister of a friend who was getting married and didn't really want to go through with a traditional wedding photographer, because at that time there was still a lot of like very posed.
Right. I was going to say,
yes.
It's changed so much, because I got married. I know this will shock people. I got married in 1996, and people are like, "What? Did he get married when he was 10?" But so in 1996, and our wedding photographer was actually a friend of the family who's a professional photographer. It was great. That was her wedding gift to us.
Yeah.
We have beautiful wedding pictures and all that. But she was actually almost a little bit, to me, it was like in the 90s when it started, and I'm going to call it cutting edge.
Right.
But it wasn't just the group shot and the shot of you exchanging rings. Like, it became so much more, and now they're trying to get all the natural shots and the people laughing and talking and all that, which is kind of when you came into the scene.
Yeah, I call it documentary or lifestyle. I think lifestyle is the word that we were using at that time, and I think, for France it was new. I know that the US were kind of like ahead of their time regarding photography and wedding photography especially. It was less those like very posed and stiff photos of like, and just a portrait, and it was really documenting the day.
Just the groomsmen,
exactly, just the rings with the hands like that.
Thank you. Catch you later. We're
exactly.
Done.
So I started with that movement, and it was really amazing because there was not a lot of people doing that at that time. So people who were not interested in the traditional wedding photography style booked me, because I was like, I will photograph it this way, just so you know.
You know what we should tell people? Tell people you started the movement.
I should totally say that.
We'll cut it out. So you started this movement.
I guess. Yes, I did.
That is so awesome, Emily. So now you are doing this you're still in Europe. When do you come to Canada?
Okay, so I started actually celebrating 14 years of being a photographer this year in June. So I started in June 2009.
Yeah.
I created my website, and then so I started booking weddings, and then a year later I met my ex-husband. 2010 I met my ex-husband in France. He's Italian, and we started dating, and after a few months dating, he told me I want to move to Quebec, to Montreal. I'm applying for jobs, and I was kind of like, oh, okay. Oh, sure, I love Montreal. It sounds like a great...
You had been there?
No, I haven't been there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but as French people, we know about
Montreal,
about Quebec,
absolutely,
because the French heritage and the connection with France. So I was like, actually, yeah, why not? So he applied for a job at a bank. So he had a very different job. He's not a creative person. He's a banker. So he applied for a job at a bank in Montreal, got the job, and we moved to Montreal in a few months. Got married, moved 2 months later to Quebec. And then I moved my business from France, who I was starting to kind of like be busy, be very booked. Moved my business from France to Montreal, and I had to do a lot of back and forth because I was still shooting weddings in France and now moving my business.
So you were flying back and forth?
Flying back and forth
and
for
so
at least 2 years.
Oh, wow. So I'm assuming, though, if like I'm a person getting married and I go, listen, Emily, I want you to come, that I'm paying for you to come to France.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So these are people that are paying big bucks to get you.
Yeah. I was starting to get really, really good clients, and it was very, very intense, but also, I mean, weddings are fun. So yeah. And flying back to see my families, that was great.
And then, so you're doing all this now in Montreal.
Yeah.
Beautiful city.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous city.
Yes.
And now your business is starting to grow.
Yeah.
In Montreal.
Yes.
Doing wedding photos.
Yeah.
But then.
And then.
You made a change.
Edmonton.
then
portraits.
Then you thought.
Well,
I grew up in Madagascar on this tropical island with white and black sand everywhere. The ocean is so clear. You like just all this stuff.
Yes.
It is heaven on earth.
Right.
Then I've gone to school. I've done this. I went back to Madagascar, but now I'm in Montreal, gorgeous. And then you thought, I know what I want to do.
Right.
I want to move to one of the coldest places on earth in the winter. That's what I want to do.
Right. So.
What brought you here?
Yeah. Good question. Funny story. So we were living in Montreal with my ex-husband, and suddenly he's like, "Oh, I applied for another job, and let's move to Edmonton." And I said, "Edmonton? Where is that?"
Where is that?
So I knew about Calgary. I'm
you
sorry
know what?
for
I'm going to stop you. That's so Montreal.
Right?
Edmonton. Where's Edmonton?
So I knew about Calgary because in France my parents love to watch the Calgary. Oh,
the Stampede?
No, not the Stampede. The
hockey team?
No, I'm losing my.
Come on, Emily. What are we talking about here? There's only
Olympics.
The 88 Olympics.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I knew the name Calgary because.
Actually, the 80 Olympics put Calgary on the map worldwide, obviously.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So that's all I knew about this side of Canada.
Yeah.
I was like, Calgary. Oh, yeah, I remember the Olympics.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, Edmonton. Where is Edmonton? So I had to literally Google maps and look. So we moved to Edmonton in 2016. At that time, I was getting tired of weddings a little bit because I've been shooting weddings for like 7 years now. I felt like I've done
too many bridezillas.
Actually, not the bridezillas, the guests.
Oh.
Because my clients were pretty cool and young, and they just wanted good photos. They just wanted to have fun on their day. It's the guests.
Okay, tell some stories.
Some stories of guests. Yeah. So, some guests feel like I'm here for them.
Right. It's like it's not about the bride.
It's not about the groom.
It's about them.
Yeah, it's about them. And
it's
I'm
their
like,
show.
This is not about you. And I had a few guests being a little bit rude, like kind of like, not really like call me like ask, excuse me, do you mind taking a photo? It's kind of like, hey, photographer, come take a photo. Yeah, bossing me around, treating me like help, which I mean, I get, I'm here to work, but I'm not really help.
Right.
Also not a way to treat anyone that, like kind of like calling me.
And they're not in charge.
They're not in charge. This is not their wedding. This is the bride and groom. So I actually had a few times where I was just oh my God, I can't believe.
Did you ever street fight any of them?
No. Okay. I was trying to stay professional.
Okay.
So I wanted to finish
you
my
didn't want to lose the client. Never know. Maybe the bride and groom would have appreciated.
Maybe. I swear, probably. Yeah. They would have been like, oh yeah, this.
So I do find it interesting that was what was grinding on you more than anything. It was just like other people there being annoying and like just
And the very long days, I must say.
Yeah. Those would be very long days.
Yeah, very long, and mostly in the summer and on the weekends. So it's it's quite draining. Fun job, but I must say, great when you're like younger and you kind of like you have all the energy and you're like, I'm going to shoot a.
And great way to start.
Absolutely.
But then you started getting into portraits.
Yes. So
and let's talk about that. Like, I think people know what portraits are, but I'm assuming there's different styles and there's different ways of doing it.
Yes, very different. So for me, also weddings where I love, like, we talked about it on the phone. Like, I love stories. Like, I love talking to people. And I found that at weddings, it's very hard. I'm not going to talk to 300 people. So I know the bride and groom. I know their story, but then I don't really spend time kind of like engaging with them, connecting with them, right?
Really what you're doing is you're through photographs, you're telling the story of that day.
Exactly.
Of the event.
Yes.
Not so much of them.
No.
Right.
Exactly. So I felt like something was missing there. I was like, this is too much. I love the one-on-one. So I was also doing portraits on the side, because when you're a wedding photographer, you do a little bit of everything. You do family photos. You also do, because weddings are very seasonal. It's in the summer, it's every weekend, but then you need to find some other jobs, the rest of the year. So I was already doing portraits, and I love the idea of just like being in a studio with my client and like share stories and talk and take photos of them and see them kind of like really like opening up in front of me. So I love that, and I was like, I want to do more of this. And I was well known in Montreal for weddings. So I felt like it was really hard for me to kind of like, by the way, I'm quitting weddings and I'm going to switch to portraits.
How do you branch over into this? Right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So I took the opportunity when I moved to Edmonton to market myself as a portrait photographer. So I changed my website, no more wedding photos. I still had some weddings to shoot in Montreal. I think I had 2 left. So I went back. But after that, I was like, okay, now I'm a portrait photographer and I'm marketing myself as a portrait photographer. So I changed my website and I started really talking about portraits. Like my social media also changed. I got rid of all the wedding photos. Yeah. So in Montreal, this is when I started working with this idea of like women who are not really seen, because I was shooting weddings and I was shooting engagement, so the couple shoots before the wedding. Sure. And I realized that women are photographed when they are engaged. Sure. So they are fiancé, they are getting married, they are bride, and then when they are mother. Sure. And suddenly I was like, okay, wait, but what if someone doesn't do any of those? A woman doesn't get married. She's not a mother. Is she getting her photos taken? And I realized there's an entire part of the population that is not being photographed because they don't do those things. So I started kind of like thinking of a project about women who are not, they don't really like, they're not in those boxes. And I called it The Truth in You. So this was for anyone who just want photos for themselves. Right. So that's how I kind of like took all those, that experience with weddings and photographing people into portraits, because I wanted also to not be like, I'm a portrait photographer. It's like, okay, but what am I doing? Like, what is the purpose of my portrait work? Yeah. There's so many other portrait photographers.
I find this interesting because what you wanted to do was not just, not just have people like at Walmart come and say, take your family portrait.
Exactly.
You wanted it to be purposeful.
Yes.
You wanted these pictures to have a purpose, either for the person individually, and maybe that's all it was for.
Absolutely.
Or maybe it was for that person to be able to share with other people.
Exactly.
There's that saying, a picture tells 1,000 words.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And is that the saying? A picture tells
yes.
A picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah.
That to me is what really good photography can do, where that picture can really make someone think about, what is happening in this person's life. That's essentially what you were trying to do.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. I wanted to tell people's stories through portraits. and everyone has a story. It's everyone. It's the person working a 9-to-5 job, the CEO,
this is what I love. You know what I love doing about a podcast?
Yeah.
I love hearing about your story.
Yeah,
that's what this all is
yeah.
It's storytelling, right?
Exactly.
And I think people love hearing stories too.
Yes, they do. Yeah. So I started doing those sessions with women, and lots of people were still confusing boudoir and women photography. So
sure,
because again, it's those kind of like ideas of like you do photos for someone else, or you do photos because you're mom.
And for the listeners that don't know what the word boudoir means,
yes,
it's bedroom.
It is, yeah,
yes.
Exactly. It's when you get ready and be sexy.
I go to my boudoir every morning.
I bet. Yes. Yeah.
So, I just love the word boudoir. Just so you know. I do. I use it often. Like, I think that's a great word.
Yeah.
But you are correct that people are getting photos taken for other people.
Exactly. And I wanted to have an offering for people who just want photos for themselves.
Right.
Yeah. For their legacy.
So let me ask you this, and I don't know if this is a fair question or not because I find it so interesting. How do you tell a person's story through pictures? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, let's say their story is, and again, whatever their story is, I'll talk a little bit so you can maybe think about it, but whatever their story is, and you know, maybe their story is that they've had some tragedy in their lives. Maybe the story they want to tell is they've had some success in their lives.
Right.
Whatever that is, how do you tell that story through photography? Or is that important? Is it more about what that person wants to relay or relate through picture that as long as they understand the story, that's all that matters?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that. I think you're right. I think it's more about, of course, I'm telling their story, but also I don't want to fall into some type of cliche of, oh, this person has a tragedy, so we're going to take sad photos of them.
Right,
or,
right.
Oh, you just have a success, so we're going to do a photo of you jumping. You know, like those stereotypes of like, oh, this is what the photo means.
Right.
So I think for me, the most important part is really my goal is to take photos, authentic photos of people. So I want them, when they look at those photos, they see themselves.
Yes.
They don't see a cliche.
They're going to see more than what I see looking at that picture.
Exactly.
Right.
Also, I had someone tell me they will look at the photos and remember what they were going through at that time or how they felt.
Right.
So that's
it's so personal.
Very personal.
So personal.
Yeah, very personal. I had one of my clients who went through a very sad, huge grief. She lost her husband. We took photos of her, and I didn't want the photos to be. A story is already tragic.
Sure.
So and also we're not doing like the very polished photos of her smiling because everything is great. So it was
because that's fake.
That's fake.
Right.
Exactly. Yes, because at that time she was going through a lot. So it's a lot of personalized, a lot of psychology, but very like connecting with a person and really ask them, okay, what do you want from that photo shoot?
It's so interesting because I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not now this is not me fishing for you to say a compliment. I'm not, in my opinion, like a photographic or a photogenic person. My wife is just gorgeous, and she is so photogenic, and I'm not. I mean, listen, I do. Even though we put these on YouTube, this
you have beautiful eyes, I must say.
Would you stop it? Honestly, I'm married, Emily. That is very nice of you to say. Thank you. But you know, just in general, I think that the voice is good for a podcast.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that being said, there's one picture I won't go into it, but it's making me think. There's one picture that was taken of me years ago, and it was for an article that we did on YOUCAN, and there's this YOUCAN logo in the background, our old logo, and it is my favorite picture of me because we all have a favorite picture
we
or
all
10
do.
favorite pictures,
Absolutely.
and it is hands down my favorite picture because of the expression on my face, just everything.
Right.
And it does take me back to this time of whatever that time, and so that's how I'm trying to equate this in my mind to what you're doing with people. Now, here's what's interesting. That person didn't even know they were doing that.
Oh, no.
That wasn't done on purpose. For
no,
them.
Exactly.
You're trying to do this on purpose.
I do this on purpose.
Which I think is cool.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Which I think is cool.
Yeah. So people say that all the time to me. The first thing they say when they get to the photo shoot, I'm not photogenic. And the second thing, I'm awkward in front of the camera. And
what do they say?
That they are awkward. Yeah.
Right.
Uncomfortable, awkward.
Well, because they get nervous probably.
Yeah. And I say, you know what? Everyone said that, and that is not true.
Right. But it's your job to help them not feel that way.
Exactly. That is my job.
Yeah.
So this is not... most of my clients are not professional models. Let's be honest. They are normal people, everyday people.
Absolutely.
9-to-5 jobs, business owners.
Well, if they were professional models, you'd be paying them. They wouldn't be paying you.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
So I tell them, no, you're not. This is not your job, and this is my job to make you feel comfortable first.
Yeah.
To give you directions, instructions on how to pose, because that's how you will, we will get the photo that we need to get, and then we're just going to talk the way we're talking like that. I ask them lots of questions. I want to know about them, because I feel if I know about the person, why are they here? What do they do? What is their job? Do they have the partner, family? Do they have cats or dogs?
Right.
We talk about so many different things, but that's when people relax, and that's when we can take genuine, authentic photos of them.
Well, you're building trust. Even in a short amount of time.
A very short amount of time.
You're building relationship. You're building trust. You're feeling more comfortable. They're feeling more comfortable. I think it's amazing. The Relentless Podcast is brought to you by YOUCAN Youth Services, which I am very proud to be a part of. YOUCAN Youth Services is an organization that helps young people move out of harm's way and onto a path of economic independence. If you want to learn more about the incredible work that we do with some very vulnerable young people, please go to www.youcan.ca. That's www.youcan.ca. What is the long game here? Like, as a photographer, we've had an artist on here. I know some artists. I know some musicians. I know stand-up comedians, which comedy is an art form. There's all these art forms, and it's a grind.
Yes, it is.
It's not easy to make a living doing this, but it seems to me that you have made a living doing this. But how hard was that in the beginning? And actually, how hard is it now?
It is, creative jobs, creative careers are challenging. Because not saying that other jobs are not challenging, but there is a specific challenge with being a creative person, a photographer, a musician, because people think, oh, you love what you're doing, so you don't really need to be paid. So it's like, it's great to be paid for your job, for your passion. And also we live in a capitalistic society.
You need a roof, you need to eat.
I need to pay my bills.
Yeah, exactly.
So not now, because I've built my portfolio, my career. So now people don't really question this. But when I started, I had a lot of, can you do this for free? Can you collaborate? Because, you're just starting. You need exposure. And it's exposure don't pay bills.
No.
So it's, and people kind of like, not everyone, but a few people would try. They would try anyway. They were like, I don't really have a big budget. Do you mind doing this for...
and maybe in the beginning, whenever you have to go, because I need to get started.
Absolutely.
So
Yes, I did a lot of free work or collaboration, and I still do it depending on the project, of course.
So, like when we do the project with me, we won't do boudoir shots.
No,
because I did those years ago.
Yeah,
and they didn't go over well.
Okay,
my wife burnt them. It was a Valentine's Day
She's
gift.
Like, never again.
She looked at them once and burnt them. So. That's not true. That didn't happen.
I know.
She loved them. She loved them, Emily. She did. So you're to the point though now where this sustains you. Like this is you're quite successful at this.
Thank you. So I have now I have a studio on 121st Street. I just opened with my business partner a new space. where we also rent to other people. So we rent that space to other photographers, other creatives.
Yeah.
I use this space for my work, and I also just added to my team my assistant/associate photographer who is going to be shooting for me now.
Cool.
So yeah, it's
so you're starting to build it up a little bit.
Yeah. So and
what's the ultimate goal? Do you want to have like 25 people working for you, or do you just want a few? Like, you know what I'm saying? Do you want it to be like boutique style, or do you want it to go a bit bigger?
Yeah, I don't think I want to go too big. I love the very personalized, like boutique, studio, photography studio. I don't think I want to have 25 photographers working for me. My partner was telling me, yeah, you could hire people to shoot weddings. And I was like, absolutely not. I don't want to deal with
You're like, I left that.
I left that. And I don't want to manage other wedding photographers because weddings, there's always things happening. It's very, very intense.
Well, the thing is, if you get too big, that's all you'll do. You won't even be taking photos anymore. You'll be managing people, and you'll be coordinating schedules and making sure people are paying and like all that admin stuff, which is, for my understanding of the creative people I know, that is not their forte. They want to be creating the art.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And it's manageable if it's just a couple of
people. So I'm starting with one person. We'll see if that goes well. And then I still love shooting, so I want to keep taking photos and doing other projects. So yeah.
What's the craziest photo shoot you've ever done? Are you allowed to say that?
Oh my God.
Do you have stories of like how it just was an absolute disaster? Let's not even talk like weddings, but are you even allowed to say that? Because, or are we just going to expose somebody where if they listen to this and be like, oh my God, she's talking about me?
No, I don't think my wedding clients are listening.
No?
They are in France and in Quebec. So
do you any crazy stories from Madagascar days where like they don't even know Edmonton exists?
Oh, I did this is not a crazy story, but it was a cool opportunity. I did a shoot for a bridal for wedding dresses for a designer who lived in Reunion Island, and I was vacationing there. I was like on vacation there to see my sisters, because my sister was still living there, and I also had weddings there.
Okay.
So we did this really cool wedding bridal shoot close to the volcano.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
It doesn't, because I've never been there. It doesn't make sense.
I know.
I need to watch the cartoon movie Madagascar.
Yeah, you have to watch it. Yes, I'll send you some YouTube videos.
Do you still have friends and relatives there that I could like stay at their house if I went?
My parents would actually love.
Your parents are still there?
My parents live in Normandy now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I have uncles and aunts and cousins in Reunion Island, but my parents and my two sisters live in Normandy.
I feel bad I interrupted your story. Okay, keep telling about
So so we just did this she's like, oh, let's shoot near the volcano. So it's if you can picture being on planet Mars, like with like the black lava kind of like landscape. Yeah. Just imagine a bridal photo shoot there.
That's cool.
So very, unexpected. Like, who does that? So,
right. Well,
so that was
cool.
one of the really cool experiences.
I was looking more for like, has anyone ever gotten a fist fight at a wedding that you got to take pictures of, or like, have you ever been doing a portrait where you were like, what are we doing this portrait? Like, why is there,
Not really. I had some annoying people, but not like crazy stories of like fights and like drunk.
No crazy boudoir shots, because I'll tell you what, when I did mine, they had to call an ambulance because I'm not very bendy. And I ended up pulling
your back
and my left hamstring, and it was intense. So you don't have any stories like that?
Well, no, I don't. But the thing to know is that a photo shoot is a little bit of a workout. So people should stretch before. This is practical advice.
Being silly,
but this is true.
Okay.
Lots of my clients tell me after the photo shoot, especially for boudoir, because you really bend a lot of things. They are sore the next day. Yeah, there's a little bit of soreness, so you should stretch.
Okay.
Yeah, and be prepared.
Be prepared.
Drink lots of water.
Lots of water.
Stretch. Yeah.
You might cramp up a little.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Can we talk about the one thing, when I was on your website, the one you've done a bunch of different projects.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about your website after. People can go check it out.
Yes.
But there's one that I think is really cool, and I want to see more of it on your website. Let me say that to you.
I need to update it.
What's it called with the ladies that are 50 and older?
Women over 50. The crone.
The crone.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
Let's
because
talk about
I
this.
just think it's cool. We talked about it on the phone the other day, but talk about the inspiration behind that, and the importance of that.
Right. Okay, so the same way I was doing portraits and realizing that certain parts of the population, like women who don't get married, don't have kids, are single, are not photographed, kind of like go invisible. I realized, because I was getting all those clients who are like 30, 35, 40 max.
Sure.
And then I realized, okay, well, where are the ladies who are like 50s and older? Right. Because they are some are still working, very interesting careers,
Lots of them are still,
very interesting journeys. And I kind of like realized that they disappeared from, especially social media, because social media loves young, fresh people, if I can say. So after a certain time, you kind of like get, okay, well, you're not young enough to be featured on, fashion or campaigns or commercial stuff. So I was thinking, okay, why are we not seeing these women? And I was meeting them in like networking or other photo shoots, but they were not the kind of like the center of attention, because I was doing this, but now I'm retired, or now I'm like doing something else. I had a long career, blah blah blah, but they're not really. Kind of like
they're not active in what we're all seeing.
Exactly. Yeah. They're kind of like, okay, it's your time to like give the space to new people, younger people. But then I was like, yeah, but they have really great stories. Most of the time I talk to these women and they have like, they have all of the crazy stories about so many things.
Lived experience.
Exactly.
Wisdom.
So I started searching about this, and I was, I think I came across a text about the crone, which is actually a term that is a little bit, how do I say that? Some people find it offensive.
So let's talk about the term. What does the crone mean?
Okay, so in a woman's life, there's different stages. So the maiden is the young woman, not married. Then there is the mother. And then, so she has children, she takes care of her children. And then there is the crone. The crone is the wise woman. Right. She is not having children anymore. This is a time, or she doesn't have children. Sure. But she's the woman with experience, with knowledge. She knows things. Yeah. And she's the one who gives advice to the mother and the maiden and the kids. She has all of so it's a little bit of a spiritual, I would say, term. And then when I was doing this research about these women, I realized that because of that patriarchal system of, it was a long time ago, like, they were trying to get rid of witches, and they thought women was really doing lots of weird things. So the crone became this old, bitter, very ugly women. You can see it in like movies or even in books. So there was a movement, I would say, that was kind of like portraying this woman over 50 as a very mean. Yeah.
I like the word you use, bitter.
Yes. Yeah, jaded. Yeah. When actually, no, the wise woman is the elder. Sure. She knows. She has the secrets. She has wisdom.
Can bring light to a situation.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, very interesting. So I decided to call my project The Crone. And I think I had some people reacting to it and say, women saying, I don't really want to be a crone, because in their mind, they had this imagery of the old, bitter woman. Right. And I was like, yeah, but we're breaking, you want
to reclaim it.
We are reclaiming the term. And they were like, oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so you want people to embrace it.
Exactly.
For what it truly is.
Absolutely. Yeah, like, why don't you want to share your story, your journey. You had an interesting life. Your life is not stopping at 50. You keep going. You just go invisible. But we need those stories.
We need them. We need the wisdom. We need you to share your life experience with us.
Absolutely.
Because we still don't know what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's a secret.
Yeah. Well, it's not much of a secret. I think if people would wise up to that.
Yes.
So I love that. I love where that comes
Thank you.
from. I love the inspiration of that. And so now what you're doing is you're inviting these women.
Yes, I'm calling in these women to do something for themselves. So it's not for the family. It's not for the grandkids. It's not for the husband.
But I shouldn't ask it that way.
Yeah.
So many women that I know.
Yeah.
It's all about the children.
Yes.
It's all about the husbands.
Right.
It's all about everybody else.
Yes.
And not them.
Yeah.
And you know what? I take advantage of that every day in my house because that's what my wife is. And I'm not saying that to be funny. My wife, it's mind-blowing to me how she never puts herself first. I think what you're saying is, let's put you first.
Exactly. For one day, 2 hours max.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not that much actually.
Right.
And then I think I had one of my clients, and I'm going to get a little bit sad for a moment, but she did that photo shoot, and then she said to me during the photo shoot, I was talking to my kids and my husband, and I want a great portrait that they would be able to have in their house when I pass away. And I was like, actually, people want to have a photo of you.
But don't you find it interesting that it was still about other people?
Yes, I know.
This is the beauty of the crone.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
This is that these women, they still just want to care about everybody else.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
It is.
I my hope is that there's some people listening to this right now. And actually, I do know some people that listen to all my podcasts, which I'm very, very thankful for. And they should go rate them and put the stars on. Thank you very much.
Yes.
That's going to help us. But my hope is that a couple of these ladies that I know, that they're going to maybe take you up on this, because I think that they should.
Yeah,
you know, and
I hope so.
I think it's important. How do we find you? How let's talk about your studio a little bit more. I know that this is a newer venture.
It is. We opened in February.
Yeah, so very new.
Last February. Yes.
Yeah. How do people get involved? Obviously, you can go to the website, they can book you and all that type of stuff, right? But is there consultations? Do you sit and try to get to know them a little bit better? I'm assuming especially with the crone, that it is more of a relationship building thing.
Right.
Right.
So I'm online. My website, my Instagram is EmilyGiotti.com. Emily Giotti on Instagram. EMILIEIGGOTTI. I missed that up completely.
That's okay. I mess things up all the time.
Oh God.
I know though, if they go to your website, they'll be able to find all that stuff.
Yeah, all of the things are on my website. I have an Instagram account for my photography business, and I also have an Instagram account for my new studio, which is called Le Studio YEG. So it's a new venture. I always wanted to create a space to gather people, because if I go back to my years as a legal assistant, as a jurist, as a lawyer, I felt very lonely, and I wanted to create something for people to come and create for themselves, like have fun and be creative. So my business partner and I wanted that space that is like a blank canvas, but also something that you can come and you can just take photos and do videos if you want. So we are super excited about this new studio. That's where you can find me. And
you are very you're a very lovely person.
Thank you.
But you are you love people.
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
And I guess
yeah.
that's why you want to tell their stories.
Yes.
But you also love gatherings. You love community.
I love community.
You love togetherness.
Yeah,
which
I
I
do.
think is very, very awesome.
Thank you.
Listen, we are gonna we end all the podcasts
Yes.
with the Relentless quiz.
Okay.
And it's very important, this quiz.
Yes.
And what this quiz does is it determines whether or not you are relentless. Although I believe you are relentless. I think that your journey from Madagascar to Edmonton, I think you've had to be relentless. I think you've had to work very hard to get to where you're going.
Right.
To get to where you are and where you continue to go to. But this quiz is going to solidify this.
Okay.
I'm
ready.
Are you nervous to take the quiz?
A little bit, actually.
Okay. Oh, geez.
What's going on?
I got to put my glasses on because
Okay.
I am old. All right, here we go. Emily,
Yes.
fruits or vegetables?
Fruits.
You find that question funny?
Yes.
Or you just didn't know that was
No,
going to be the
because
question?
this is a joke with my partner. One day I said, those vegetables taste like vegetables. So
That's why I don't eat them.
Exactly.
Vegetables taste
Yeah,
like vegetables.
yes. Yeah.
City or countryside?
Ooh, I'm a city person, even if my parents live in the countryside.
Yeah.
It's good for a little bit.
Do your parents live in where did you say they live?
They live in I'm going to say it in French. It's a little village in Normandy called Sainte-Marguerite-de-Viette. It's so small, 400.
And is it just beautiful?
It's so cute.
I think I want to go hang out with your parents.
Sure.
Do they
you should
still have
go.
a summer home in Madagascar? No.
No,
Oh,
we
okay.
don't.
Well,
No. But you can go. You can go to Normandy and hang out with them.
Well, hang on. Okay, we got to get back to this quiz.
Yeah.
Dirty bathroom or dirty kitchen?
I love a clean kitchen. Every evening, every night, I need to have my kitchen completely cleaned. So then when I wake up the next morning, it's ready to go.
So you're saying dirty bathroom?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you had to
I mean.
pick. Okay. Okay. Salty or sweet?
Oh, salty.
It's amazing to me because people pick fruit and then they go salty.
I know.
Isn't that interesting?
It's so interesting.
So interesting.
Yes.
Morning or night?
I'm not a morning person, so I was night.
Night?
Night, yeah.
Okay. Favorite comedy movie?
Bridesmaids.
Oh, nice. This makes sense. And you probably laugh so hard because
I laugh so hard.
I've seen all of this.
Yes, yeah.
Such a good movie.
It's so funny.
So funny.
Yes.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Big party or small gathering?
This one is tough. I love a big party.
Yeah.
I love to dance. So yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Emily likes to party. Phone in the bathroom or no phone in the bathroom?
No.
I don't believe you. I don't. We've had people say it before. I don't believe them. Don't believe them. Favorite love song of all time?
Wow, that is so hard. Oh my God, favorite love song of all time. I cannot.
This
sorry.
might be the most important question on the quiz.
Whitney Houston.
I will always love you.
I will always love you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm a big Whitney fan.
That is a classic.
Yes.
Song. Classic song.
Yeah.
A couple questions left.
Okay.
Cake or pie?
Oh, I don't know. Both.
Nice. I had a guy in here a little while ago, and he said pie. Plural, pies. He said he wants
yes.
pies. So
All
you
the
want
pie.
both, okay? Last question. Describe your Relentless Podcast experience in 4 words.
Fun. Chill. Connection. I don't know. This is not a adjective. Connection and story.
Awesome. You have been such a pleasure to talk
Thank
to,
you.
Emily. You really are a lovely person. I think what you do is incredible. I think you're very gifted. You're very talented.
Thank
I
you.
love talking to artistic people because I'm not artistic, but I do appreciate it. And I actually really appreciate photography. I do believe that there's that saying of a picture can, you know, say 1,000 words
Yes.
or whatever that is. And I know that that's what you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
I think it's in particular with the crone. I just find it so interesting. I find it amazing. So I want to wish you nothing but success moving forward. I hope that people will go and check out Emily's website and hopefully book her for some work and get some stuff going on. Folks, if you want to check us out, we are at all of our socials are at YOUCAN Edmonton, and then our website is www.youcan.ca, and then on my Twitter it's at Kyle Dubé. We appreciate you listening, and until next time, thanks again, Emily.
Thank you so much.